Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have a pretty not good situation to go bring on up over here when it comes to now a brand new groundbreaking issue that everyone is now seeing with the PlayStation 5 Pro. And well, it's not the funnest thing to go and discuss. Now, as you guys know, we've had a few various software updates and them trying to go push certain things, such as performance mode, having resolution mode, or even various things such as pushing things like VRR, which is variable refresh rate, which would be very important and integral for this video, which is kind of meant to stabilize the frames and make sure the gameplay is good and just trying their best to make sure everything is consistent and stable. A lot of video games are always trying to go push for a consistent 30 FPS with usually a higher resolution, or a 60 FPS nowadays with 60 FPS for 4K is a standard, and of course sometimes the frame rate can go even higher, such as some of my gaming monitors are up to 240 hertz, so kind of expecting 240 frames per second refreshing. And well, right now we're kind of seeing this big kind of widespread where some things want performance, some things want consistency, and some things want a bunch of frames depending on the game, your play style, and what you want. For me on the PC end, I sometimes like to have higher frames and lower resolution if I'm playing a competitive game, just to have a chance to see updates a little bit quicker. And sometimes if I'm playing a story game, I don't mind having a lower frame rate but higher fidelity, basically having the game look a lot nicer because I'm going to be relaxed on my bed, couch, and I want to be able to go and see the beautiful environments. But all this leads into a big issue, which we're going to talk about throughout this video, so if you guys will enjoy. And as well as you guys probably know, we've been doing a big promotion over here with Samsung for the next 2 days on the channel, so please go and click on the links down below if you guys are interested in the Galaxy A36 or A26 as well, the brand new Galaxy phones. They have a huge trade-in deal. You get a bunch of money for free. You have a good chance to get a bunch of things on sale too as well. Those are all linked down below. We're technically a Samsung partner, and a lot of you guys have been clicking on that, and it also does support me too as well if you guys ever support the channel sponsors. So thank you guys all so much from the bottom of my heart for everyone who's clicked on those and have, well, checked them on out. So you guys even picked them out the phones too as well. So thank you. But we have a very, very important thing over here. And this is now discussing and being called on out that as of the second, the PlayStation 5 and the PS5 Pro have a pretty big VRR stuttering problem. And this is basically saying Sony and third-party games all involved in the PlayStation ecosystem are being affected, but apparently Xbox has gotten off scot-free, which is kind of surprising because I do think a lot of the news as of per recent have been pushing towards PlayStation being the big bread and butter. And I'm a little bit more of a PlayStation fanboy, if I had to say, probably a 70% PlayStation, 30 on the Xbox, but obviously I still have a big heart for Xbox and Xbox users. But this is kind of a big deal because as we're seeing this, there's a very layman's high-level terms, we'll get into it as Digital Foundry kind of does. And although there has been some drama that people are saying Digital Foundry is very biased against PlayStation, there might be a little bit of bias on their end because it does get a lot more clicks, and I'm sure even this video might even get more views in general. But I do want to say, in theory, it's kind of sometimes nice to call out these issues because if it's somewhat of a fixable issue or addressable issue, it'd be nice if people at say PlayStation or all the developers have a chance to look at this and fix it. So let's go talk about it. Subscribe if you guys are new. We have the Twitters, Twitches down below, and of course the Samsung links again, and let's dive on into it. So kind of go get them talking about this. The last few months, they've had a chance to people that were suggesting that there's a problem with basically VRR, which is the variable refresh rate, which as we discussed, kind of helping out on frame rates, that there is an issues where game performance can be interrupted by continuous, obvious stutters that manifest every 8 seconds. So every 8 seconds, there's some sort of an issue and slog on the game itself. So if you're playing a single player game, playing multiplayer stuff, there's a chance after you play on your console for around 20-30 minutes, it has a backlog on the VRR, it has a big stuttering issue. And it's not an end-all be-all issue where you can't play your games or everything's breaking and whatever, but I'm sure you guys would agree if you're spending $750 plus software money, or you a PS Plus subscriber and you spend thousands of dollars in the ecosystem, you have high expectations. This one is a comparison between Xbox and also same thing to a PC. So you want to make sure everything is working well. So saying various theories have been shared and discussed online, covering a range of displays and firmwares, but after spending some time investigating the problem, they can also confirm it's a real problem impacting both the PS5 and PS5 Pro consoles, and as well will also be impacting any VRR compatible display, which is a lot of them. So how it kind of works is they're splitting VRR, which is the variable refresh rate, which works in general and more specifically on PlayStation consoles. Until VRR arrived, the most stable performance in console games was to basically see a frame rate locked at 30 or 60 or 30 FPS. So basically just making sure it's all consistent. But as I explained at the start, we're seeing very like frame rates that go higher, uncapped frame rates even on consoles. The Pro has a chance to go over 60 depending on the game you're playing. So an even delivery of frames is sent to the display. Basically, that's why you're trying to make it consistent, synchronizing with the refresh rate of the panel. At 60 FPS, a new frame is displayed with each new refresh of the screen. At 30 FPS, a new frame persists for 2 refreshes. As the name suggests, VRR operates with the variable refresh rate instead of the console needing to synchronize with the display update. The console itself is then in charge of when the refresh happens, typically whenever a new frame is ready to be presented. So basically, that's why I'm saying it can get a little bit wonky if you have different games, you have different performance modes, you have like people trying to go push higher frame rates, you have different monitors with different refresh rates too as well. As I mentioned, I have like some at 144, some at 240. It's all over the place. So with VRR, a game doesn't need to run at lot 60 or 30 to present to gamers in a consistent manner. So basically saying it doesn't have to be always 30 or 60. As long as frame rates remain broadly similar, gameplay still looks smooth, even if a game is operating, for example, at a variable 50 to 60 or 100 to 120. Basically just making sure it's as stable as possible and consistent, because if it goes from like 60 to 20, you'll notice it, but if it goes to like 110 to 105, who kind of cares at the end of the day. But as well, it should also be reducing stuttering and screen tearing too as well. So the problem there, though, is that there is an example of the stuttering issue presenting itself in titles that support the 120 hertz VRR with unlocked frame rates. Basically saying like it might be overly doing it to the point where it might have to be overly compensated or it's just not fully locking in. So they're using examples such as The Last of Us Part 1. And I'm going to maybe go let you guys kind of play up some gameplay over here from the video itself, because in all honor, and always shout out to Digital Foundry for the topic, so I'm trying to throw in my own 2 cents and kind of react to it. But basically, you guys can see, they're saying The Last of Us Part 1 and 2, Kingdom Come Deliverance, Diablo 4, for example, as the game itself will work for around 20 minutes. So the game is like fine, like you boot up your console, it's good. And I'm sure you guys have had like a laptop, phone, old console, whatever. It might be always perfect at the start, but after maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours, maybe I've done Twitch streams where I'm live for 15 hours and I can kind of tell it's been run, no break, like running intensive stuff like OBS when I'm streaming on Twitch, or even YouTube stuff when I was doing that on Monster Hunter. I streamed Monster Hunter for like 17 hours in one stream segment. Like you could kind of tell, like streaming on 2 things, kind of slogging stuff on out. But anyway, it kind of just shows that after all this time, there is a noticeable stutter that manifests every 8 seconds, give or take a few frames, as is ongoing. So the point of VRR is to bring consistency to variable frame rates, and the magic is lost when the game is stuttering so noticeably in a regular cadence. Basically showing that like if you're playing a game, it might be hard to see on their video itself, but the high level, if you're listening to what I'm saying, is that as you have your game going on, you will notice stuttering and lagging. And it's not the most obvious thing out there, but if you're playing for a while, or had it even happen to you, let us know. But you can kind of go until there's like a little like lackluster and a little bit of like a jump, and then like it's still going, so it's fine. Even in the video, it's hard to notice, but like you can kind of tell there's a little bit of a and a little bit of a and a little bit of a like every 8 seconds or so. So it's like every 10 seconds. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, boom. And like, it's not as noticeable, because if you're playing a game, it's still being able to go beat the game. But they're now saying that like Hogwarts Legacy, Elden Ring, Resident Evil 4, Ratchet & Clank, Marvel Rival Spider-Man, Metaphor, Kingdom Come Deliverance, all these very popular games with these higher available refresh rates are having issues. And that's where things get rough, because these are very popular games. We just want to make sure in the future this doesn't keep on happening. So how do we fix this? What do we do? God only knows. I'm stupid. I make YouTube videos, bro, and I'm like, I go on Twitch streams, and God only knows what I do in my spare time. But it is a big issue because we want this to be fixed. So they're kind of overseeing over here too as well. If you have these panels, you have more of a complex elements, and like there's a lot of what ifs to this. The high level is that you have different monitors, you have different types of TVs, different types of like gaming monitors, and of course you may play games differently. If you're playing games on 30 FPS, on like a 4K, 8K, you're not gonna really notice all of these issues too as well. But a lot of these things I've had a chance to go and see though is that it's consistent. They are showing that at some points too as well. Here's a good example. So they're basically saying in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 on the PS5 Pro, they would see the frame rates in usually like a 60 to 70 frame range, which is nice thanks to their on-screen display, like how they're showing it over here. But when there is a stutter that kicks in, it does momentarily jump to the 120 hertz, basically trying to encode everything at 120 frames instead of at a 60, 70, which is what it's meant to be at. So it almost kind of seems like it's trying to play catch up, almost trying to like generate frames that aren't really there. And because it almost gets like an overload system on both the PS5 and PS5 Pro, where it just kind of makes everything weird. Like it just is like a stutter. It's like it's too much information all at once, and then it goes and breaks them down, which we don't really want to have on our consoles themselves. And also, to kind of add to this too, they're saying that this is only a Sony specific issue. So if they're testing out stuff on Xbox, and this is kind of why people, I think, call out Digital Foundry and think they're a little bit biased and like anti-PlayStation. But once again, I'd rather them discuss this stuff and let us have a chance to highlight it as a community so we can kind of maybe fix it. You know, it's not the biggest deal here too as well. But they've also tested this too on top of this. You know, they've had all the same, like, similar refresh rates over here for 120 refresh rates, and they've had a chance to go and kind of figure out what the issue is, you know, different types of TVs and different types of problems and using different types of cables too as well. But it does kind of seem like these spikes do also go and keep it coming from the PlayStation itself. This is a somewhat big deal. Like, it's not the biggest deal where you can't play your consoles, which that would make a lot more people upset, but this is a bug. This is an issue. This is something that they have to go and address and probably fix. And I'm not sure how you fix it, but maybe the high IQ people that are getting paid hopefully a lot of money do know what to do. Once again, this is in Xbox. It's free. Like, for once, Xbox isn't catching a stray. So, you know, props to Xbox for this one. But anyway, people are like not sure why. No one knows why. They've tested a lot of different games too as well, and a lot of these games do have these problems, but apparently some also do not as well. Their evidence is suggesting that if the output frame rate of the console does not vary so much, it's less likely to happen. So maybe a Kingdom Come Deliverance where you have a lot of different types of towns and different characters and environments, and it's a very, very intensive game that does make things a little bit harder. Like, it makes sense. It really does make a lot of sense. But they also see that too as well. They saw the impact of the problem easily in Marvel Spider-Man's Remastered, for example, but it's far more difficult to see in Spider-Man 2, even though it is running on the same engine and using the same libraries. It might just be how the game was made and all the times for it. So they do have a chance to support VRR, especially to 120 VRR, but Sony offers a backup solution for existing games with no support. So the support is at the system level, activated within the PlayStation's front end. It's limited to 60 Hz and only allows for VRR to work within a 48 to 60 Hz window. It reports that Elden Ring has that same similar 20 minutes of smooth play, followed by Starter is also so confirmed too as well. So we may make a separate video on that too if we see more other games popping out or other people kind of researching this. So I guess subscribe if you guys are new. We'll try to keep you guys in loop the best we can, but it does kind of seem like this is a bigger issue than we're all expecting. So subscribe if you guys are new as well, if you guys want to support the channel and you guys are interested in the brand new Samsung A36 and 26 phones. Those are linked down below. We have a lot of cool trading deals and offers with that. The Twitters and Twitches and everything too as well are down below. And I appreciate y'all so much for watching here in the first place. Hope you guys all enjoyed.